Okay, welcome to the summary of the third turn of 1942. These were the two cards that were in play. Now that I'm looking at it, I noticed that I completely forgot to use the Soviet event, which would have been very helpful for them. Well, I'm not going to redo the battle, but they would have suffered fewer losses, definitely. They might not even have lost the territory that they lost, indeed, if I had just used the special event. The Germans didn't have any opportunity to actually use it. So this is one of the few mistakes I've undoubtedly made during the course of my playthrough. But, well, it's just a reminder to be really on your toes and to pay close attention to what you're doing and that you're not forgetting something, because it might have a huge effect. Now, what I did want to tell you is that obviously, because it's a draw in the as far as the points on the cards are concerned, that the Axis went first. Now, what did they do with their four command? One thing they did was they attacked the British naval unit in the Gulf of Sirte with an air unit. They didn't commit the rest of their navy because they thought, well, we'll lose it anyway because the Brits will undoubtedly, or the Allies, because the Americans have forces there too now, will undoubtedly reinforce the fight, and we'll probably lose much of our navy. So they just sent in the aircraft to prevent an invasion of Sicily, because the sea zone was contested, and in a contested sea zone you cannot perform an invasion. So, well, while they did succeed in doing so, that is preventing such an invasion, they did lose the air unit. The Brits did reinforce the sea battle, and but subsequently, obviously, the Italians rebuilt their aircraft. It's now in Rome, because of course any unit has to be built in an area where there's a factory, and it was built in Rome in this case. And well, because it's only a strength 1, it's not very capable of doing much. Well, that's one thing the Germans did. Something else they did was, even though that didn't cost a command, they moved their dive bomber from France to Hungary, and obviously they attacked the convoy again. People say that those convoy attacks don't happen very much, but I have found myself using them quite a lot. In fact, the German naval bomber and the battleship, in fact, managed to completely destroy the convoy, even though it was obviously rebuilt, but that did cost the British quite a few resource points. And as they went first, the Allies weren't able to reinforce the battle until turn 2, and even then they didn't succeed in doing much. I do expect this will be one of the last turns in which they will actually be able to inflict much damage on the convoys and everything, because the Americans have built up pretty much by now as well, and I think they will be able, along with the British, to permanently protect the convoys more or less from now on, but we'll see. Now, obviously, the most important things that happened, well, you don't know that yet, but I'm going to tell you, is that the Germans counterattacked on the Eastern Front, and they actually managed to take the area around Lvov, which is this one here. They destroyed the Russian forces there, and they also captured the Krakow area from the Russians, and they used, I believe, one battle extension to do so, and subsequently they've upgraded their units again. So, I never expected they would hold out so long, and well, I guess a real difference with the real war here in this game is that it's only halfway through, and by now late 1942, and the Germans still have very strong units, and the Russians, they're getting more of them now. Speaking of the Russians, what they did is they didn't actually reinforce those battles. They only have 2 command. The other 2 command, which the card granted them. Obviously, they have to be split evenly between the Western Allies and the Russians. So they only had two command, and rather than wasting them, if you will, on reinforcing these battles, which again they wouldn't have needed to do had they remembered that they could have elected to have one area with double defense, because then they probably would have held on to it. I'm almost sure of it. Well, yeah, I'm positive actually. So this never should have happened, but okay, let's just forget about that. So what they did do, rather than reinforce those battles, was to send units from the Urals. This is actually not the Urals. The Urals is somewhere over here, but I've placed the German reinforcement and resources aid there. So I just thought I have space there. But moving units strategically out of, or moving units out of the Urals anyway, costs a strategic movement unless they're attacking an adjacent space, which obviously they didn't do here. So I sent some of those strong, powerful units to the front so that they'll be able to help out there on subsequent turns. So I think that's a wiser thing to do than reinforcing the units here. Well, and what else happened? Well, after the naval battle, which obviously the Western Allies won here, they regrouped one of their units to the Ionian Sea. So on the next turn, they might very well be able to finally launch that invasion. And at the moment, they can threaten 3 Italian areas. They can either go to Sicily, the tip of the boat, and the heel of the boat of Italy. I'm not quite sure what those areas are called. I believe this one is Naples and that one is Taranto. And keep in mind that the last turn of a year is a winter turn, but only in Russia and I believe Finland. The rest of the board doesn't have that restriction, even though it's true for the first turn of each year. Yeah, and obviously, well, I don't think all that much extra happened. What I could do, obviously, which I forgot to do, but I will do it now, that doesn't cost a command because there's no unit defending it. I will just move in the Russians here and they will take Norway this way. I forgot to do it, but I guess it's legal to still do it. Yeah, so this is what happened, and we'll move on to the final turn of 1942, and well, I wonder what the Germans will still be able to do in the east. I think I will allow the Russians to still play their event because they were entitled to do so. They just completely forgot about it, so I think I will use that on a subsequent turn when it's opportune. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.